So the origins of Adfeilion start around 2.5 years ago.
Myself and Scott, the nylon guitar player, we began Adfeilion as a duo, and it began way back a few years ago as an ambient studio project.
It started as a YouTube channel where we wanted to create ambient music. And really the purpose of the channel was to be music for meditation, music for study, music for sleep.
And what we would do is we would go out into nature, beautiful places like this. We would film something that captivated our attention, whether it's a waterfall or a stream, a ruined castle, and we'd loop that video for half an hour, and we'd play ambience over the top of it. And we loved this. We loved this idea of soundtracking nature, connecting nature with music. We both love electronic music, ambient music, so it made sense to us to really express ourselves through this medium.
And we have like a deep love for medieval sort of sounds as well. And so slowly these sort of Celtic medieval melodies creeped into the ambient music. And all of a sudden it was a little bit too distracting to be meditation music or to be something that you would fall asleep to. And it started to form structure. And we realized that the music we're creating now doesn't serve the purpose of the YouTube channel.
But we also had a lot of other loves, such as folk music, particularly traditional dark folk styles like Highland that we see now in Nitland. We've been to see them live a few times early on in our conception of Adfeilion when it was still an ambient project, and they really inspired us.
That was one of the main things with Highland, is they're very drum focused. We brought drums into our ambient project, and no longer could we call it an ambient project at this point because it had turned into something more. In the heavier sections, we started adding distorted guitar, and it started becoming this sort of mix of metal music and ambient music. And it's something that we'd never heard before really, because it's usually just one or the other. After writing about 5 or 6 of the songs, we thought, let's upload this to Spotify. And I really, in a way, believed that it might end there, because when we finished that project, it felt really complete. But it was nothing that we could ever replicate live. So when we had this collection of music, the only way I could see it moving forward was just to keep writing and upload to Spotify.
Personally, I've always had some kind of urge in me, I don't quite know where it's come from, to want to play live. And the idea of just having a project that was online, it wouldn't satisfy me creatively enough. And I was trying to push Scott on, come on, we can get something here that's really engaging, we can play live. And then eventually we had this opportunity to play through a friend at the Gower Heritage Centre in the Cheese and Cider Festival. We were able to take what we had about ambient music, tailor it to something that'd be more engaging live. And so we did, and we got some friends together to help us out in some of the extra instruments, and it was such a magical experience to get up on stage to play this music that we put together. And ultimately, that became Adfeilion because we really enjoyed it, the audience really enjoyed it, and we thought, well, we can't stop here. Let's keep writing new stuff, let's really work out how to master live performance, and let's try and find the next gig. We really wanted to connect to the Welsh language, because we're very proud to be from Wales, and we feel connected ourselves to the old ancient stories and landscapes of Wales. And as we were trying out different kinds of Welsh words, we translated the word for ruins. So when that went into translation, it was Adfeilion, it just looked right. It looked like a word that was Welsh, that could also be pronounced more or less okay if people weren't used to pronouncing Welsh. It also reminded me of Avalon, which is the legendary Isle of Arthur, which again had a connotation of it. So it just felt right. So that's what we chose. We played the Wassa with under that name, and that was as a trio. So it was me, Scott and Rory. It was a night to remember, not all for the best reasons, because we were still learning our trade as live musicians, and it was a little bit sloppy, and we had this elaborate plan.
So we tried early on to not interact with the audience at all. So the idea was that we come on stage and the audience witness something of a druidic ritual on stage, and we thought that would be really cool, but actually found that it's not very engaging if the band on stage don't look at you and you're the audience.
I would be doing some spoken word on stage, introduce the set where Scott was going to start behind the audience. He was going to weave his way through with his hood on and his lantern. He was going to be really mysterious, and he was going to connect the audience to us before we'd even go on stage. And I remember Scott just knocking someone's cup of ham. I fell over the floor, and it was, oh no.
So that didn't really work.
I was like, okay, we can ride that. And then he came onto the stage and he shined the lantern in front of me. And he stepped into there, so it went bang. And he looked at me like, what was that? I don't know. He's like, what do we do? Just play. You'd rehearsed everything through click tracks, because I was looping and stuff, because you didn't have enough people to play all the parts. And the looping was fundamental. And as he started pressing play, I realised I didn't have a click track. The thing he'd blown up was the click. And I was like, oh my god, we got to play now. So nothing was in time. I was playing the bass as well as the keyboards, as another bass player. And because it was really cold, it seemed the bass string had detuned itself since the sound check. So I come in nice and strong, like, really make a big deal on stage, front of the stage, slam into the bass, all out of tune. And you can see in the old recordings, I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? So I'm trying to tune it and listen, and it was all disaster. But it was great fun. We still enjoyed it, and I think people still understood the vision enough to give us another chance. And at that point onwards, we managed to evolve it and get a lot more polished. But yeah, it was rocky, those early days.
I'm Mark Selby. I've been helping Adfeilion with their artwork. My background was in fine art some time ago, so always interested in the idea that modernism had, that by stripping back to basics, you could reveal a truth, and not only reveal that truth through your work, but then project it out to society at large, and make the world a better place. A very optimistic image, something that I was intrigued by, making the world a better place through the creative process. What's not to like about that? So I've always been interested in looking at the landscape and the symbols and the totems and the structures within the landscape through the work of Adfeilion. I think that they like to look at the old magic symbols, they like to look at the modern world and fuse the two, and I think that's where I see eye to eye a lot in the creative process with Adfeilion. So Adfeilion are very much about storytelling. For instance, with their latest album cover, I was simply told there's a valley, and looking out across the valley is a rider on a horse, maybe off in the distance. And that was pretty much the brief I got. Riders on horseback, swords aloft, that sort of thing. It's very familiar, but through familiarity is where you find the impact. So I hope it achieves what Adfeilion were after.
We just launched ourselves into this incredible, beautiful, mad, wild, stressful at times journey, and over the next 2 years we played gigs around Swansea in venues that we'd attended as patrons and looked up to, and one day we thought, oh, we'll be on that stage, for example at the Bunkhouse.
The turning point for sort of the whole project came when we entered Battle of the Bands competition,
which we entered just to play another gig, the first round.
And we'd been playing a few live shows up until this point, but we thought the only way to sort of compete with the other bands in the competition is to bring an acoustic drum kit. And from that point on, I think that it has taken a life of its own.
When we got through that round and got into the quarterfinals, couldn't believe it.
And we could see in this first round of Battle of the Bands that people sort of connected, they understood the vision, I think.
Because we still felt our sound was very niche. To have that validation of people just voting for us, they wanted to see more, was incredible for our confidence and ability to just commit more of ourselves and our energy to the sound and to develop it further.
And we kept developing our sound through the competition, and incredibly, and I still look back and I'm not quite sure how it happened, but we won the Battle of the Bands competition.
Which secured us the ability to record the album and things like that you hear now Revel with.
Hi, my name is James Weaver. I've run a recording studio in Swansea for over 15 years now. So Adfeilion were one of the contestants in Bunkhouse's Battle of the Bands. They were the winners of the competition. When they won the competition, one of the prizes was to record their music in my recording studio. It's one of the things that drew me to Adfeilion. When you see them on the stage, even if you haven't heard their music yet, you know you're going to be for a ride of a performance. They usually come dressed in their black robes and their kind of skull horse masks, very reminiscent of old folklore Welsh legends like Mary Lloyd. Yeah, you can see their sort of war shields on stage, their war paint. Yeah, I believe that they're using metal as the basis of their music, but also introducing those folklore elements as well.
The wanderer stumbled upon the stones of a silent city, and between the rubble encountered a hidden passageway.
I think the bardic tradition of telling stories is largely lost from our culture these days, and I think the closest that you might find to that is audiobooks and the likes. So we thought, well, why don't we bring some of that into our show? We incorporated it here and there between songs and noticed that's the point at which people are sensing something's different here.
There's some great atmospheric and instrumental bands out there, but Adfeilion are different again because we've got Matt and his storytelling in between the songs and really getting people engaged and engrossed.
And when I first joined the band, it had been going for about a year by that point. So the main thing I was interested in was making sure that it would fit. So, you know, there's something about being able to play instruments well in the musicianship, but, you know, you also need the personalities and just the styles and the approaches that will just merge well as a band as well.
I think the sound is a bit eclectic, is because we all have very different personal tastes in music, because my early influences are really based on, yes, medieval media, but also I'm classically trained in piano. So my influences are things like Chopin and Rachmaninoff, and I try to bring some of that complexity and beauty into those ambient, lighter moments of each track.
Really interested in a wide range of different kinds of music, from sort of more classical things through to fairly heavy rock and a little bit of metal there as well. And I'm also really interested in sort of folklore, both of the UK, so traditional Celtic folklore, as well as across the world. Being able to combine these things and create a sound that was very different, blends those elements and also blends so many different influences together to create something that I think is actually quite unique and certainly very unusual, because we're not aiming to replicate what's been done before. We have a vision, there's obviously a sound and Adfeilion sound there, but that's really shaped and pulled in all sorts of different directions.
I think a lot of that stems from the fact that we're all very different musicians. We all come from very different musical backgrounds and have had experience in quite a wide range of things, both playing but also what we listen to as well. I think it's just through luck as much as anything, but despite all of the different backgrounds, different flavours of stuff, it all fits together so well.
You know, to me, that's what makes it Adfeilion. It's not just a collection of songs, it's not just the music, it's that whole collective cultural experience, you can say. So you've got the songwriting, but you've also got the unusual instrumentation, you've also got the storytelling, and you've also got the immersive staging as well.
several people had recommended us to enter Metal to the Masses on the backs of Swansea Battle of the bands. We were like, I don't know, what would we gain from it? We're probably not going to win it again. Lightning won't strike twice.
We've already won something in the local area, and sort of what would it add?
But the more we thought about it, the more we were like, why are we not doing this? Are we just afraid, oh, might get knocked out first round and that would look bad? And for me, I think it was that. You can't not enter because of that. You can't potentially miss out on winning and going on this journey and getting all this experience because you're afraid of just looking bad.
We were a bit unsure of whether to dive straight back into another competition. I was really keen to, being slightly biased in the fact that I just absolutely love Bloodstock. Also having seen that it's such a big, like, important, influential competition that is run not just across Wales but across the UK.
And again, the quality of the other bands were very high.
But this time, we were a different beast, I think, to what entered Swansea Battle of the Banners. That gave us so much confidence, winning Swansea one, and having that experience of going through 4 rounds in this competitive environment, really sharpening our sound, our performance, and it felt very natural this time.
And as it went on, we got to the final and thought, oh, this is just incredibly tough competition, but you know, what a fantastic time it's been.
So especially the latter rounds of Metal to the Masses, it was like, we really won this now.
I remember before they announced it, my heart racing, thinking, I've given up so much, we have to win. I've like neglected so much work.
And then they announced that we'd won.
Oh my gosh, I just felt relief.
Very surreal moment when they announced our band's name.
And I think the first thing we did was obviously the most metal thing you could imagine, jumped up and gave each other a massive bear hug.
Was just brilliant.
Yeah, fast forward a few months, we're at Bloodstock, and I can honestly say, till this point, that was one of the most beautiful weekends of my entire life.
Sort of didn't really hit me until we were actually backstage, to be honest.
The new blood tent has about 2 to 2,500 capacity, and it was packed. And people were all there for it, and we played, and we were just on a massive high then after the rest of the weekend. So it was all surreal. It was a dream. With your best friends, traveling to a distant land, connecting with other artists like-minded, seeing huge stages and massive acts like Gojira, thinking, wow, playing at the same festival, just to have that weak association was just incredible. Seeing us in the poster.
It's pretty lucky for me, actually, I think. So they just won Metal to the Masses to go play at Bloodstock. And the previous guitarist had a job offer in New Zealand that he couldn't refuse. And they needed somebody last minute to fill the helm. And that was me. So yeah, 2 weeks later, rushing to learn the songs and playing in Bloodstock with them, haven't looked back.
I think it set us up so well at going forwards. I feel like we're a lot more professional since doing that. I feel like we've taken another level up, and I think it's now really exciting to see where we're going to go with that next.
It's all happened so fast. I put it down to people seeing that we are a little bit different, but within that difference, there is some vision that is being expressed that somehow connects people with that sort of ancient roots of Wales.
It really is just built into this glorious big thing now, but Bloodstock will always be a treasured memory for me, for all of us. And wow, I'm so glad we rolled the dice. So glad we realised that the only thing holding us back was fear.
I'm Jem, and it was just my first time seeing Adfeilion. It was just like being invited into a whole other world, and everyone on stage was just so in that world that it made it very easy for all of us in the audience to join them as well. It was pretty magical.
Amazing. We loved them. It was gorgeous. We haven't seen them before. We've been listening to their music for some time. Yeah. They were bloody brilliant. They're the best band in Wales right now.
Yeah, just really immersive. So from the storytelling to the music, like really, engaging, and the whole thing. It was seamless and beautiful and captivating.